Hi folks, it's Lapp, and I like playing video games. I sell my soul for these things. They sure eat my time, but it's a very good trade-off. But never sell your soul for Pac-Man Party.
It's definitely safe to say that everyone has at least tried a video game before. Some guy named William Higginbottom created a computer game version of tennis in October 1958. And then from there, the video game genre was born. It was constantly evolving and many companies decided to focus on it. Nintendo, Sega, Atari, SNK, and many more have led to the creation of video game related products. If you ever need a reason to hoard a bunch of video game covers, call yourself a video game fan. And if you ever need a reason for being insane, say that you own Paper Mario Sticker Star. The premise of being a so-called video game fan is simple. You just like video games. And when you like video games, that means you're most likely a gamer. Gamers come in all shapes and sizes, if you get what I mean. All gamers are interested in different games, genres, and companies. In fact, gaming communities are so incredibly diverse to the point where gamers themselves are as complex as video games.
People call this complex.
And that fact still holds true to this day. It's just that time has also changed gamers as a whole, too.
Most people.
Before, I think gamers, well, also into different video games, were sort of the same. Obviously, the growth of video games grew over time, around 1985, in terms of popularity. Looking around 35 years later, it's integrated a lot into pop culture, and most people can be gamers. And when there are more people, there are more categories to establish. Just like priorities.
Oh shoot, I forgot life existed. I'm just gonna go do my errands.
Alright, I'll be honest. I've been in this place for a few days now, and I want to ask a few things.
Okay, sure, what do you want to ask?
So first off, why do you guys have such realistic noses?
Because I'm a human?
Right. Humans, forgot. What's that black thing in your eye?
A pupil.
Wow. Why isn't your entire eye a pupil?
It wouldn't be called an eye if that was the case.
Good point.
Hopefully that answered all your questions.
Those weren't all my questions.
Oh. Okay. Ask me.
Why do you spend money?
To stabilize the economy?
What's an economy?
A system for exchanging products and resources.
Why do you eat?
So we can have energy?
Is drinking the same thing as eating?
As long as you're swallowing.
Why do we exist?
Depends on how you view your beliefs.
How do we exist?
Depends on how you view your biology.
Where do we exist?
Depends on how you view a map.
When do we exist?
Depends on how you view a clock.
Why do we exist?
Depends on my birth certificate.
Why does this exist?
Those utilities and maps such as Google.
What's Google?
A search engine on the internet.
What's it used for?
For your questions.
What's a keyboard?
Didn't I talk about this for 4 minutes?
Is it hey all or hey y'all? How does a quadratic formula help you in society? Why does the volt formula exist? What's the deal with airplane peanuts? Why do people have a lot of stuff?
Because we have a lot of uses for them.
Why do people do stuff?
To have fulfillment.
How do I get fulfillment?
By living life.
What do people do in life?
They live.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, how do they live life?
It depends.
But don't all people do the same thing in their life?
No, Emerald. Everyone has a different way of living life.
Why are we here, Lapp?
I think we're here because we have a purpose to fulfill.
What's the purpose?
Alright, enough questions.
Wait, but this one's important.
Use Google.
I don't even know how to use it. Also, why do you have so many video games?
What do you mean?
I mean, that's a lot of Nintendo.
Well, I'm a gamer. I like to play them a lot.
Aren't all gamers, lazy and introverted?
Whoa, Budster. You're using stereotypes now?
I mean, the stereotype is true.
Not for everyone.
You're just proving my point right now, you know. The robe, the shorts, and holding a game controller.
Oh my god, not again. It's the 4th time this happened this week.
Why are you so into them?
They don't have pet peeves.
What's a pet peeve?
You.
I don't understand what that means, but I'll take that as a compliment.
So are you always going to use stereotypes to classify something?
I've been here for 7 days. Of course I rely on them. I barely know anything.
Oh god, we're gonna have to reverse that. First off...
Please don't start talking for another 2 minutes.
What? It's my thing. How am I supposed to teach you this thing that you're gonna need in the real world?
Well, if it's that serious, then fine. But I'll let you on one condition.
What? Hold on. Let me get this straight. You want me to host a game show with you?
Apparently so, but not my request.
I don't have any experience.
I don't either, but I have experience getting experience.
Okay, well, if you know what you're doing, then I'm in.
Great!
But how many people are planning to join the show?
Ew, we have to bring people?
There's no one even here.
You might want to recount.
Oh my god, what is that thing?
An orphan. That's a woman.
Oh, you adopted someone?
If that's what this generation calls it, yes.
Well, that doesn't look like a normal child to me.
She's
I'm big boned.
Okay. Alright, we got one person to watch.
I'm surprised they were actually doing a game show. At least I'll cross it off my bucket list.
You have a bucket list too?
Welcome to the game show. That definitely isn't another horrible copy of Jeopardy! For our first contestant, we have Lapp Diary.
Guys! It's me!
What a chump.
Introducing the other contestant for the show, we have the Orange Guy.
Woo! Some fierce competition.
Now that you know who exists, we're gonna get to the questions. In this show, the questions are all about the topic of stereotyping. These contestants will answer with yes or no, but only one of them is the correct answer. And you need to press the button in front of you to answer first.
Oh boy, I can't wait to suffer.
Okay, question number 1. Do people have these things called opinions?
I think so.
Have you ever had those times when you're classifying someone or something based on a fixed and oversimplified image, idea, or description? Those are stereotypes. There are so many types of stereotypes, and they're commonly used everywhere. People probably use them without realizing it, showing how they can be deeply integrated into our minds without our knowledge. You could say that stereotypes possibly work as society expectations, driving many characteristics or personality traits that people have. Now, you could say it's a good thing, right? I mean, it's now easier to identify people quickly because of them, so that should be good. Well, look at a few of the common stereotypes mentioned in the world. Let's start with a simple one. A statement like boys should like colors such as blue, while girls should like colors like red, is identified as a gender stereotype. Gender stereotypes operate similar to racial stereotypes, religious stereotypes, and many others. And ironically, the 3 types of stereotypes I've mentioned here is actually what causes discrimination and turmoil. So it's a bit more complex on its own to explain it.
Question number 2. Does your opinion matter?
Why? Does it really?
Question number 3. Can anything and anyone vary in types of stereotypes?
Yeah.
You didn't press the button.
So instead, let's go with gaming stereotypes. We've already established how diverse the gaming community has become in the present. To add on to how it started forming, the gaming industry continued making games to the point where it became more mainstream. Hell, around the 2000s, the creation of phones became a catalyst for the video game market expansion, and the formation of it opened up and was directed towards a huge demographic, easily accessible and became varied. But I digress. Even after all the development over the gaming industry and its community, some people still uphold negative beliefs or ideas on it. Because of games becoming a cultural influence, it made sense that labels would start to pop up for people who played them. Arguments are still being made about these stereotypes, but regardless, some still stick around. Some that lasted for decades despite being proven wrong. Here, what's the first negative thing that comes to mind when you think of gamers? Gamers are lazy.
Oh
no.
Gaming stereotypes consist of many negative aspects of gamers that, despite being refuted, they still remain. It's actually really insulting. Let's start with this one. Lazy? Well, I guess that makes sense, honestly, because video games can sometimes make you unproductive, depending on how long you choose to play, but it only applies for a minority of gamers. The majority of them are actually the exact opposite, carrying positive traits such as being dedicated and highly motivated in general. But I guess from how it's viewed, gamers who are slept from the games they play end up getting distracted rather than lazy. Gaming is a guy thing? Gender and gaming stereotype. In society, men are more likely to be identified as gamers than women, so that sort of plays into why it's mentioned. But according to recent statistics from the US in 2021, 41.5% of gamers were females, while the remaining 58.5% were males. Sure, the bigger percentage are males, but still technically means that this definitely isn't restricted to one particular gender thing. Gamers are all teenagers? Age in the gaming stereotype. Here, I got another statistic for you. According to Statista 2022 survey, 36% of gamers were in the 18 to 34 age demographic, 13% for 35 to 44, 12% for 45 to 54, with 24% being under 18. It's really not limited to just teenagers, despite being the most common age of gamers. It also makes sense because, again, society views gamers to be very young. Gamers are all introverted? Well, considering how some game experiences encourages the ability of being social with other players, it's very easy to say otherwise. People could be playing games that are multiplayer, which allows them to play with multiple people, obviously meaning they can interact with others. Still makes sense why they received this label though, because gamers mostly stay indoors, allowing others to assume that you're introverted, or socially isolating themselves. Gamers are all overweight? Well, there's a bunch of inconsistencies around the relationships of gamers and their health issues. And many do say that gaming disorders do help contribute to weight gain for gamers who choose to be unhealthy and don't prioritize preventing it. Despite that, though, no, not all of them. Gamers all have negative traits? Same thing, not all of them. For some, it elevates addiction and aggression, while for others, learn and improve upon positive traits.
Question number 4. Do people accept opinions?
Ask your nearest pharmacist.
Question number 5. Can stereotypes be used as insults?
Maybe.
Now, I could go on about the various examples of gaming stereotypes, but I think you get the gist. I've talked about the rise in diversity of the gaming community, yet the topic I've originally focused on was about stereotypes. Well, in case it isn't already that apparent, stereotypes are misconceptions. They originate from prejudice, accurate or not, it's how stereotypes form. The worst part is that because of stereotypes, you can easily create misassumptions of things, of what you see, observe, and identify. They're made because they help us relate if we share something similar to that. It's like auto-generated info that we can use to determine our view on something. But it ends up influencing the way people think and act towards others, or something rather than for relation. And this doesn't just suck because stereotypes influence the way everyone else views something. It sucks because of how they continue to stick around for generations. Perhaps it's because we can't move on from the negative aspects of others, or how different people are today, so we hold on to what's been predetermined. Stereotypes actually end up making us have negative connotations and opinions of not just someone, but also an entire group of people. It's kind of like the gaming stereotypes mentioned earlier were easy to debunk and confirm not to be true. It's because it's directed towards the entire group. What's that group exactly? Well, the gaming community. Now, how can you overcome stereotyping? Well, there's no doubt that society as a whole would take a while to do so, but to individuals out there, it's easy. Just don't do it. Try to be mindful and don't rely on prejudice to decide what you think of someone. Don't let it affect the way you think, and instead understand the individual rather than who they are in a group. Everyone and everything is different in their own ways. And if they share something from a stereotype, that doesn't mean it should completely change your perspective on them.
Okay, here are all the results. The winner is... no one! Both of you are horrible!
What?
You were talking about gaming stereotypes throughout the runtime of the show and you didn't say any valid answers. All you had to say was yes or no.
Do I at least get a participation award? Well, that was a failure, but hey, at least I can finally get the last thing off my checklist. I like playing video games, but that doesn't mean I'm out of a job and just playing video games. So, with that, I'm just gonna head to work.
What do you mean I got fired? This is my own company.
I'm out of a job and just playing video games.